Check it out! Check it out! Charge Recordings presents Mappy Swift's album, Music Forever, the best in diverse drum and bass. Artists featuring Mappy Swift, DJ Blame, DJ Fresh, and Gridlock. Tracks will include Play Me, VIP, Hackers, Solarburn, Feel Me, and the well-earned popular Trippin' Gridlock remix, plus many more. Also to include double CD mix by the Mappy Swift. Mappy Swift presents Music Forever, Charge Recordings.
You are now in tune to the sound.
Hi, what's up? This is Joe Oakley. I'm here for Code of the Streets in central London to speak to a true pioneer of drum and bass music, Mr. Roni Size.
I was brought up around a lot of black music, seeing rap music grow into hip hop, being a b-boy, breakdancing, you know. I bought lino, had the tracksuit, I had the old school Pumas. I remember being like 10, 12 years old, running around the streets and being pounded by bass lines all day. If your music wasn't rattling the windows, then it wasn't quite loud enough.
Was it as soon as you could be making music, you were making music?
As soon as I could work out a way to make music without having to play guitars or be a drummer. I got a Spectrum ZX 48K Spectrum, tried to program with that. I had a BBC computer. You know, we had your mum's old gramophone, you try to scratch a couple of tunes on there.
What was it that came first though? I mean, the DJing or the producing?
Getting my first Atari computer, my first sampler, that kind of just set me up to saying, yeah, this is what I want to do. I want to program beats. I could sit down in a room by myself and still sound like, 10 people. It was always about being able to go into a room and like program and come out with a complete, finished piece of music.
What training was there for, what you use today? The skills
back in my day, there was no music technology courses, there was nothing. I was very fortunate that when I got to the end of my school years, I kind of stumbled on a building called The Basement, and rather than them telling you what to do, they'd ask you. They bought a drum machine. And once I learned every button on that drum machine, they said, now what? I goes, well, they bought a sampler. So I learned every button on the sampler, then it just developed into a desk. And this place became like a small music technology place for kids who didn't really want to walk the streets and get into trouble. When we won the American Music Prize, we gave the £25,000 to sustain the building to stay open. It was something that was my salvation. It was a great place for me.
What would you say was your first big break?
I think it was a 3 o'clock in the afternoon set, what they call Tribal Gathering, but it used to be called Universe. It was back in the days when the organisation was terrible, so all the DJs were turning up 2 hours late. Mm-hmm. So I had to play like 4 hours, 5 hours, you know what I mean, because none of the DJs were coming, and every step of the way, the people just loved it.
How and when did Full Cycle, how did it come about? How did the family grow?
Myself and Di kind of met just through walking down the street. We just saw each other, just started talking, and we found out we got the same birthday. So we're like, we joined at the hip. Me and Cross met each other just through going on through youth clubs, and I met Suf, who used to hire bits of my sound system, and then Dynamite, we kind of met him just by being on the road. We kind of came together and just used to smoke weed and just play chess, cook, and maybe if we could go around to Smith & Mighty studio. The person that really gelled us together was Brian G, because we didn't really have direction. And Brian came down to Bristol. He goes, yeah, we're going to start a record label called B Recordings. He introduced us to a lot of people in London, put out a couple of tunes, put out Agility with myself and Di, Deceivers, VW1, which is Crust. Kept on feeding our tunes out to the scene, like Brian would play them on dub plate, Frost.
What was the first big tune that put Roni Size on the map?
It wasn't until Giles Peterson, someone outside of the jungle scene, picked up on what was going on, and It's a Jazz Thing was the record for me which kind of opened up a door. And this is a record that I just made. I just gave them dats. I didn't even, I was not conscious about what we were doing. We just gave them the dats and then they would play the music. But the record which changed a lot of the perception about our sound was Music Box. Myself and Di put that together. It was just a collage of our history, a lot of jazz, you know, a lot of breaks, a lot of hip-hop records. And that was on our own label as well, Full Cycle. You know, that was the label that myself and Cross started, because we had so many tunes, we couldn't put them all out on people. You know what I mean? So we had to decide if we're going to put some music out here, some music out there. The rest is history, man.
Do you listen to the kids' demos when they come in still? Or?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Listening to music which is coming from, you know, people's back pockets is important. With the label, we're hands-on. We're 99% hands-on. You know, we're now fully independent. We've got a good team of people around us. You know, everyone's pretty focused. We're using all our hard-earned own cash. Do you know what I mean? There's no majors involved now.
When did the whole live element come into it? Because for me, that's what brought about the Mercury Music Prize.
Absolutely.
And isn't it essential for drum and bass to reach that wider audience?
I used to believe that it was important to try to adopt to an audience who were too busy stroking their chins and didn't quite get it. And you know, I felt like it was my mission to go out and you have to understand this.
Yeah.
I just joined a major record company. New Forms was a skeleton of ideas I put out. Once we delivered the album to Talking Now, they were like, okay, we've got the record, let's go live now. And I was quite dazzled by it. But it was a challenge, and I like a challenge. It just gives it more of an organic element. You know, live doesn't have to be a drummer and a bass player and keyboards. It doesn't. Live can also be, you know, just someone up there, just, you know, playing a drum machine.
This album, you know, it's the very fact that it is for all the different audiences, isn't it? Isn't it? As in, there's tracks on there where I can imagine them being performed live, and there's tracks on there I can imagine going crazy to at the end club.
I call the album my Noah's Ark.
Yeah.
Because there's like two of everything. There's two tear-out tunes on there. There's two quite soulful tunes on there. There's two maggot tunes on there. You know, there's some old vocals from Jocelyn Brown. There's some new from Beverly Knight. This record is like saying, look, okay, we're doing it alone now. There's no Talking Loud. There's no major record company. There's no Universal. We're going out and we're doing. If we ever needed the support of our people, it's now. You know, people have to rise to the occasion because independents are falling by the waist. We want Full Cycle to be recognised for putting out all different types of music, not just drum and bass and jungle.
You happy with drum and bass at the moment? What are your thoughts? You know, global scene and all that. You happy with how it's progressing still?
When I get asked about the scene and people, you know, ask me if there's one thing I would be disappointed with the scene, that we have very few artists. I would love to see more artists. Like people like High Contrast, who's got a #2 album. I can't wait to get #3 and #4 album, #5 album.
The Mercury Music Prize, that at the time I didn't realise just how big an award that is. It's what people want to buy at that time.
We didn't know what it was. But I would like to believe that we had some responsibility in making people aware. As much as they made people aware to our music, there's people who didn't know what Mercury Music Prize was who now wants to win it because of that moment. People think that I invented drum and bass. There's people out there who would believe that because that was their first initial take on it, was that award. So it's down to me to go out and let people know about the prehistory, about the Goldies and the LTJ Bookums and the Jumping Jack Frost and the Brian G's, the Wax Doctors, and all the people up until that point. So that award for me was a testament to the scene.
Privilege, sir.
Nice,
Thank you very much.
This is Dillinger, and right now you're watching Coda's Streets, slamming.
We're here at the Hospital Records headquarters and we're talking with Chris Goss, co-owner and label manager, and he's going to be showing us around.
Hello. Welcome to Hospital. This is the brand new hospital. We actually bought the building from Age Concern, so it had all the right kind of vibes. Down here, as you can see, this is really just like the warehouse, all the catalogue, CD, vinyl. We've actually built in here a little mixing studio.
See that?
And look, it's even people in there working, isn't it? Fantastic. Essentially like a room within a room. You can see here like the actual cavities from the wall. Look at that craftsmanship. Tom's very proud of that. This is Simon, Sir Mighty Zach and Phil. Play upstairs. This is where it all really happens. This is the label office for myself, for the lovely Laura. This is where the magic happens. We've got a little bit more office space, and to show you how much our artists love being here, this is actually Newtone's bedroom. So we said to him, you're going to have to actually sleep here to make sure your album comes in on time. And like a true Trojan, he's done it.
What goes on in a typical day of Chris Goss?
To be honest, every day is very freeform. Right. Today, Tom and I have been spending a lot of time just like planning the Newtone album, working out singles. Are we going to do any mixes? How are we going to format that project? You can hear the printer in the background. I'm printing out posters for tonight's club. I'm also trying to actually work on artwork for the Newtone project, the single and the album. Stuff like manufacturing that actually has to be all day, every day. Because if you miss something, you're gonna lose a release date. You're gonna find that you've got empty shelves somewhere. Obviously, we've got Herbal tonight, so Fridays are always a nice, hectic kind of day. It's never dull. As anyone who runs their own record label will tell you, if you are effectively in charge of label management, that means that you've got to keep an eye on absolutely everything. The wicked thing about Hospital was that he and I were starting it entirely from scratch. When we were like end of '95 through the early '96, we were literally like sitting down in local pubs and bars, like freestyling ideas for what to call it, but at the same time it's like what to call it and how is it going to look? How are we going to get this right? How are we going to like do something that is not just going to be another high quality breakbeat label, but one that just looks like those other five. One of the best things about it is, as a word and as an idea, it's entirely international. You go around any country in the world, you'll see a sign that says Hospital. And almost every time it's an age. So you get that for a start card. Immediately it's like, right, we've got to have an age. And I think I must have spent a few weeks literally going through like typefaces. I've got to find the age. Yeah. We've found a company called CG. All they do is make stickers for pharmacies. Literally, they thought we were a hospital, and I think he still has trouble with it, So we started on a very, it was kind of like very postmodern, very simple but highly effective. Naturally, within drum and bass, it looked like nothing else.
Larry only likes jazz.
One of the main reasons Herbal works so well is that the guys that own it and run it are totally switched on. They're music heads. They're not money guys.
So, kicking off, do you want to tell us how you got involved with Hospital Records?
Sent the guys a couple of bits. Obviously, Dan had signed up first.
Right.
So, I kind of had the contact there already, really. First thing they took off me was a 7-inch, which was a collab with Dan, a thing called On and On, which was on the Weapons album. From there, it was then a thing called Replay. And then, just followed on from there, really.
Basically, when they got in touch with me after hearing the demos and I came down for the meeting, they offered me the deal that I'm signed to now. They don't tend to work with people on single deals. Occasionally, they'll put out like a 12 by an artist that's not like signed exclusively, but most of the time, their efforts are focused on kind of developing artists as projects and, entire album projects and all that kind of stuff.
To tell us a bit about how you linked up with Hospital. We wrote a track for John B, which Lincoln, I Contrast, started playing, and he played it to Tony and Chris, and they gave us a call and sort of started from there.
The album's called Brave New World. Should be out end of March. Okay. I've been lucky enough to work with a lot of really amazing vocalists. Natalie Williams, who's like a big name in the London jazz scene.
Is there a standard kind of vibe that you're going for on the album, or
just to try and keep it listenable, really, as opposed to dance floor? And I want to have a lot more content than a lot of stuff's had recently, because in terms of longevity, I think a lot of D&B, just the shelf life is so kind of limited, really. I kind of want to stretch that out a bit.
Were you kind of into this stuff before they signed you?
Yeah, big time.
Totally.
Right back from kind of Pull the Plug, the whole angle of the label, and particularly like the earlier London Interesty stuff, was very, very similar to kind of where I was coming from. The whole kind of soul, funk samples, jazz samples, kind of old school, like even like little kind of crazy easy listening.
I like the fact that obviously I come with something a little bit different and not really playing to the rules, give you the freedom and the encouragement to kind of explore new avenues really, which I think a lot of other labels would rather kind of, you know, push you down the safe route.
Right, now we've spent a day in the hospital offices, we're going to go down to East London to the Club Herbal to see Hospital in action.
Hospitality's been a mad raging success for us. I can't believe it's sort of 3 years. I'm so lucky because I've got this great night and I'm the resident DJ and I can't quite believe it really, because it's any DJ's dream.
Your first next for the Chris starts tonight, live, keeping it warm. Right now we're touching down with the boss. International London Electricity.
I hate it when people say I'm a liquid DJ, because I don't think I am. I play tunes that fall under the liquid umbrella, but I will also play a lot of other stuff as well. The main thing for me is that there's a thread going throughout the whole set and it builds.
In the place for me, Hospitality, Friday,
Band are amazing. I mean, you know, I can't believe that they've stuck with me for the last 18 months. And we did our last show in Poland, in Krakow, a fortnight ago, and it was the best show we've ever done. We played nearly 2 hours live, and it was proper hairs on the back of the neck vibe, and that's a great way to leave it. And like everyone in the band's like, they're just ringing me up going, it's shit not being in the band anymore, when are we going to start again? Back on tour in May, festivals, then the hard slog in the autumn when the album comes out.
So let's talk about a bit about the conception of Hospital Recordings. When did that happen?
Me and Chris used to run an acid jazz label. Acid jazz went out of fashion, so we decided to start a drum and bass label. How about that one? I bet Chris didn't say that, did he? Wicked. Or we ran out of money and needed to make some money, or we love drum and bass. Right, which of those three?
I reckon the first one sounds plausible.
Probably a little bit of truth in all of them actually, because it is a job, do you know what I mean? We didn't know anybody at all in the scene, and this was in 1995, and it had all kicked off by then anyway, and it was like, you know, we were like latecomers, we'd already done music before, we didn't fit the mould of drum and bass whatsoever. I mean, all the artists that we sign them to album deals because we believe they will make great albums. We're good at artist development, and I think that's the key to it. It's actually putting all the time and the love and the effort into developing an artist.
Was there a conscious decision to kind of bring in newer producers for the label?
Yeah, definitely. We're constantly looking for new talent. I mean, that's, you know, we're a record label and we're only as good as the artists, and that's it. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but it's, you know, it's totally true. Dan and Matt, Logistics and Newtone, they're two brothers in the Gresham family, and trust me, there's two younger brothers who you're not even ready yet. You're not even ready for the other Greshams, man. It's the most exciting thing about running the label. Anyone who runs a label will tell you this. It's the best thing about it is seeing new talent grow. You know, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like that feeling.
The album's coming from a kind of live perspective, you say, and what kind of, more particularly, can you tell us what that's going to be? How you're going to incorporate the live thing into it?
It's actually going to be a lot more dance floor than the last album, because my skills as a producer have improved about 5 million times what they were when I did Gravy. We've got Newtone, whose album's coming out soon, who's pushing the ante up another level. We've got High Contrast, who just released his album High Society. Each time we do albums, it's like the next one's got to cap the last one, and Scientific are going to drop their album in June, and it's sounding absolutely amazing. It's not like we're all like, there's no hate, we're all fully supportive, but it's healthy competition, and we use each other to like better our own game.
So 2005 is looking to be a very, very busy year for Hospital in general, and really.
Yeah, we've upped the ante. The music's there, you know, and everyone's ready.
Stronger tonight, a little Hospitality Monday Sessions.
Hello, this is an unshaven DJ Hype representing Ganja and True Players, and you're watching Code of the Streets. I need a Mac 3.
I'm here with Holdtight, well, two members of Holdtight. How are you doing?
You alright?
So who's missing today?
Well, basically, I'm Ben, this is Danny, James is up in Manchester and Nick's in Bristol.
So do all four of you live in different parts of Britain?
We used to live up in Manchester together. Ben has always lived in London.
Basically, our new format for making tunes is, well, we work in region, so we're starting now sending files around or for like over AIM.
And how are you finding that?
Obviously now we need 4 studios as opposed to just one up in Manchester and one in London, so just getting some more bits together and stuff.
It helps that all of us come from different backgrounds, you know, and like we all do different stuff musically, we've all got different influences.
Like Danny does most of the mix downs. My vibe's more from a DJ vibe and like what I know works on the dance floor. A lot of people love like the fact that a lot of our tunes have so much of a musical element, you know, like you get a lot of drum bass that isn't even in key and stuff, and like Nick's got a degree in music theory, he's proper musical, he can play a whole bunch of instruments and he brings that kind of element. And James is another big, like he's a proper raver and he loves his fucking twisting up sounds and all that kind of stuff, and he brings vibes. But everybody's kind of worked on tunes individually and in pairs and in threes and in fours and stuff, so it works pretty well.
And how would you describe your style, if you can, for people that maybe aren't familiar with your music?
We started off doing, we really thought we were making like liquid, but actually it was like quite up-tempo with like, I guess you could say liquid, but it wasn't.
Quite music, I mean basically like them first few tunes had a lot of musical elements, but they're also quite bouncy.
We're doing a mixture of things. Like we got some sort of, it's not really dark, but it's like, you know, a bit heavier. We're just sort of experimenting, I think. I don't actually think that we've actually found the sound that all of us are just geared on making. It's more like, you know, one of us likes a certain thing and then they do that for a bit and then suddenly, you know, they can totally turn it around and make something else.
Obviously the internet's a big part of your lives at the moment because it's your sort of communication channel.
For me the internet, like AIM and stuff now is basically how the whole drum and bass scene communicates. It's like when I get new tunes, like I'd say 75% of the time it's someone's aimed it to me. A lot of my A&R for labels over AIM, I mean emails and stuff. It's a lot easier to get hold of someone on email these days than it is on mobiles. I mean the big sites, DMV Arena and Dogs on Acid are like the kind of core, that's where you find out stuff these days, like you hear it there first almost all the time.
Do you think the scene lacks on the sort of whole personal communication front?
Yeah, I think AIM is quite personal really. It's not the same as sitting here like face to face talking with you, but you can have quite an in-depth conversation with someone. You get a vibe for their personality if you've never met them. So I mean, I've never thought it was a problem. I think everyone in D&B is like very personable, and whenever I've spoken to people, like contrary to popular belief, most people are quite friendly really.
And do you guys still go out and see the scene from the other sort of perspective, the raving perspective?
Not as much as I'd like to.
No, I don't go out as much as I used to at all. Like everyone's like, oh, I'm seeing you ladies, you know, like, oh, you're a hermit these days. You know, I think...
Do you think it's important to go out?
It is important to go out, and I feel bad when I don't go out because like you do lose touch certainly with the crowd, you know what I mean, with your general kind of people who are going out and paying money to listen to D&B. But at the same time, there's like if you're like work a day job, like I work at a label, Danny, you know, is a builder like during the day, and like it's hard, it's tiring. Like you come home, you want to like then you're in the studio, and then like to then go out as well. It's a lot. And certainly for me, like drum and bass is like everything. It's like my whole life. So when I go out, it feels almost like work these days. It's still good. A good rave is still a good laugh. You know what I mean?
Cool, and what can you talk about your setup that you're using in the studio?
We're using basically a PC with Reason, load of wave editors, and mainly Cubase, but we do some stuff in Logic.
So no hardware?
We used to have a synth, although James has just sold it. People who use hardware, like, obviously, they started using it and they're still using it. For me, it's more like computer's so much easier to do everything because it's right in front of you.
It's what you're used to, isn't it?
Yeah, it is what you're used to, yeah. So.
A lot of people criticise Reason as well, but it works.
We get a good sound. I think we get a good sound out of it. I know that like other guys obviously think, oh no, you know, I'm not going to use that because it sounds like Reason, but you know, we don't mix down our stuff from Reason.
Other big people do use Reason too. High Contrast uses Reason.
Well, you know, there's big tunes that have been made in Fruity Loops.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah. We started using Fruity Loops.
Okay, well, guys, it's been really good to speak to you today.
Yeah, you too.
And I hope you will have a reunion soon.
Oh,
like
yeah.
a real one, not a virtual one. Do you get into chat rooms and stuff to talk? Do you have a little Holdtight chat room?
We haven't
That's something you might want to use, you know.
We've been talking about like trying to set up. So we're still getting into the groove of being in 4 different cities. It's obviously not that easy.
Yeah.
We'll get there. But thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming down.
Yeah, cheers.
MC Foxy representing the Newbury crew, Pecknam SC15, rolling on the cold of the streets. Big stinking and motherfucking nasty. Them I go on like them bad, them I go on like them know me. Rolling with the cold of the streets, some can show me. Foxy up on the mic, yeah, we're rough and ready, white. They don't know what we know, and the code of the streets.
So we're here today with Ken. Ken, how are you doing?
I'm fine.
You are what I'd consider one of the sort of original soldiers in the scene.
Yeah.
How did you get into it?
From the beginning, I used to rave like everybody else, and I used to work on London Transport, and I used to have to go to work straight after raving, and the two never mixed, you know what I mean? I decided to start DJing basically, but I never had no money to buy decks or nothing, but a girlfriend of mine, she helped me buy the decks, and I just started to practice back in '88, and by '89 I was getting regular work, because the scene wasn't really big then, so I knew all the right people, and when they heard that I was DJing, everyone just wanted to give me work. Back then, people like me, Groove, Fabio, Carl Cox, we was all playing like garage house, acid house. Anything went back then though, you know what I mean? Anything went. Because I remember I even had a record by Queen in my box called Another One Bites the Dust.
And then, you know, you obviously grew up with the scene then.
Well, for me, the scene started in '88 because that's when all me and my people started to go raving and started to get involved with the music and started to go black market records. When everyone, like the main public, started to know, it was 1988.
You're known as a jungle DJ, a drum and bass DJ.
Yeah.
When did it start getting into kind of one style?
I was resident for the Crazy Club at Astoria and Busby's and Crazy Larry's in Chelsea, and people, I think Mickey Finn, Rebel MC, started to bring the breakbeat into the fall to the floor, you know what I mean? Then you had people like Joey Beltram bringing in the breakbeat as well. So that's where the breakbeat thing came from for me. And then people started to make the music a bit faster, and then there wasn't no more fall to the floor. It was all breakbeat, and then people started using different breaks, hip-hop breaks, ragga samples, hip-hop samples, you know what I mean? And then about 90, 92, 93, it basically started to turn, and people started to use the term jungle, techno. But to be honest with you, I wasn't really into the breakbeat thing at first. I was more housey, garagey. I remember a conversation I had with Groove Rider one day, and I said, Groove, I can't really get into this thing, what you're playing, you know what I mean? But then the more I heard, the more I liked it, and then Rose put me as one of their residents, so I was getting it from left, right and centre, you know what I mean? And I just started to play it, but I started to pick out what I liked, and I liked mainly the reggae influence of it, you know what I mean? And that's how I started to play jungle.
When did someone start calling you a jungle DJ?
At the same time, yeah, 93, because the next year I won the Sound Clash. They had the Jungle Sound Clash competition, and me and a few other DJs entered this thing. It was like a knockout thing. I won it, and they used to call me the Jungle Soundclash champion. For me, I was known as a jungle DJ from when it started. The music we used to play back then, you know, was the most popular music in London at the time. A lot of people who used to make the music back then got big record deals and that, you know what I mean? Because of the vocal element, we drew a big crowd all the time, you know what I mean? It didn't matter who was playing, as long as it was jungle, they would go. Paradise Club, that's what made it for me. That started in '93 and finished in '95, I think, or '96. That's what really got my name on the map. Up till now, you will never, ever, ever get a club that was as good as that. You should have been there for the vibe. You should have been there for the music. It's the only club that I know that used to be open from 9 o'clock in the evening till 10 o'clock in the morning and be packed all the way through. You used to come out at 10 o'clock and everyone would be, you see all the people going shopping to the market across the road and everything, you know what I mean? So, you know, Paradise Club was so far, for me, the best thing that's happened to the scene.
Then the scene went into a phase where everything got really separated.
Yeah, yeah.
Why do you think that happened?
Too much politics. Some people tried to take control of the scene and said, right, you're not playing this is what we want to play. You know what I mean? We don't like the ragga. This is what we want to play. Like back in the day, if I went to Metalheads and played a set of Metalheads and played a ragga set, you know, people would have most probably looked at me funny. Or Goldie would have got the ump. You know what I mean? Because that's not what they wanted. They just tried to control everything. But it didn't work. Because if you've been in the scene as long as I have, you know that what goes around comes around. And now the vocals were all coming back in there. People like Shy FX and, you know, Potential Bad Boy, who was big back then, are coming in now with the same stuff, what they was playing back then, but just on a different format now because everyone knows more what they're doing in the studio now. So the music sounds better now. In fact, I'll be honest with you, I got a bit confused with the scene back then because when Paradise Club finished, I didn't know what direction I wanted to go in. A lot of people left jungle when Paradise Club finished. A lot of people, and then the garage started to come in, and a lot of the people who liked the jungle went on to the garage because garage, as far as I was concerned then, was jungle. You know what I mean? Just slowed down a little bit, you know what I mean? But it was the same thing. And so we lost a lot of our crowd to the garage, and a lot of the producers went to the garage, and a lot of the promoters went to the garage. But people like myself and a few other DJs, we just stuck to our guns, you know, and it's paid off because like we're still here now, you know what I mean? So it's just too much politics out there, you know what I mean? The only way it affected me is that I lost my direction a little bit for at least a couple of years. I just kept on going. You know, I knew that people wanted to hear me for me, not because I was playing the same thing as everyone else, you know what I mean? I was still having little ragga influence in my set and everything, you know what I mean? And I started to get a lot of work abroad. I was the first DJ to go to Canada and play. I was the first DJ, along with Groove and SS, within a couple of months of each other, to go to Australia.
Were you surprised at how the music was received, you know, so far away from where it started, really?
I wasn't surprised that they was into it, but I was surprised when I got there about how much people was into it. I mean, you could go to Canada, for instance, and some of the parties were bigger than what's over here.
Do you still cut dubs?
Yeah. I mean, I play CDs as well, and some DJs have a go at me for doing it because they say that I'm putting vinyl out of whatever, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, somewhere along the line, it's going to go that way. Right? Whether it's next year or in 10 years' time, it's going to go that way, and it will be very hard for you to get vinyl cut. There might be only 1 or 2 places that are cut. It's just like the cutting machines. Now it's hard to find a cutting machine for sale, and that's how it's going to be the same for vinyl. But I don't think it will disappear. It won't disappear because as long as I can play vinyl, I will always play vinyl. I mean, for me, there's nothing better than taking a vinyl out your box or a dub plate and putting it on the deck and playing it. That's the way I learn, and that's the way I love to play music. It's just all about the way you mix down your music. That's what makes it sound shit or good. I don't go on the forums at all because they're full of shit. I'll tell you that straight, they're full of shit. I can take criticism, you know what I mean? But some of the shit you see on these websites, I'm not in it.
It's actually hurting the scene.
It does affect the scene because it affects the way people think. You know, I mean, if you've been on a forum all night and they've been slagging off a certain DJ, then as far as I'm concerned, the next day you're going to be slagging him off as well. You might not have even heard him before. I don't agree with it at all.
What do you think of this whole BPM issue that everyone's talking about in drum and bass? Because there's been talk that drum and bass is too fast.
If you want to make it at 160 BPM, you make it at 160 BPM. If you want to make it at 175, you make it I'll make all my shit at 175. Back in the day, the music was a bit slower. You know what I mean? But it wasn't that much slower because it was made at 165 BPM, 170, you know what I mean? And now it's only gone up to 175. You know what I mean? So in a 10-year period, it's not a big difference. You know what I mean? You don't even notice that on the decks because when you're playing, you're speeding up the tune anyway. And people are playing their music at 175, 180 BPM now anyway. you know what I mean? So these people are saying they want to slow it down, they can slow it down, but it's still going to get played fast, you know what I mean? There's no rules. You make drum and bass how you want it, as long as it's in that drum and bass format.
What do you think of MCs?
Haha. MCs, I like MCs. The only time I don't like MCs, and I've said this time and time again, is when the MC is coming out of my monitor. When the MC is coming out of my monitor, I hate it. Professionally, he should have his own monitors, and I should have mine.
That's a promoter's problem.
Yeah, it's a promoter's problem, and some people try to skimp and scrape, you know what I mean? So, the MC thing, I mean, I love the MCs because they do a good job, you know what I mean? And the kids love them as well. Personally, I think the scene's very healthy, you know what I mean, music-wise. You know, and a lot of people are doing more, instead of following the trend, they're doing what they really want to do. It is getting better. Because now you turn on your TV now, we're playing drum and bass for adverts and everything, you know what I mean? So, yeah, it's very healthy, I think.
This is Pendulum, and you're watching Code of the Streets.
Now we about to get up out this motherfucker. I don't give a fuck, my attitude is got it. And I'm hard to love, cause I don't love nobody. Hell no. All I give a fuck about is music and sex. For Remy Martin and some big cat.
Hi, what's up? This is Joe Oakley. I'm here at Slamming Vinyl in Milton Keynes to what's going to be the last ever rave at the Sanctuary. Over the last 10 years, just about every big name event's had a night here, and just about every big name DJ and MC's played here. After tonight, no more. But we're going to hold back the tears because this is going to be one hell of a rave.
It's the one to come and see, isn't it? It's the last one, so it's the big thing.
It's heartbreaking, man. Everyone is going to miss this. If someone's ever been here, they're going to miss it.
Can I hear some noise for DJ Preacher?
One crazy vibe in there, no?
I literally just got walked straight off out of the car, straight onto the stage, and 3,000 people in there or something. And it's going off because it's the last ever Sanctuary. The vibes are special.
Trust me, we're going out with a bang.
What's your best memory of Sanctuary?
To be honest with you, probably about 10 years ago, like as a 16-year-old, sneaking in here when I shouldn't be in here and having a good night, do you know what I mean? I won't say any more, but they're the memories for me because they're what got me into this whole music thing, do you know what I mean? The whole venue has been so important to rave music over the past 10 years. I'm not just talking like drum and bass, the whole even like the hardcore and old school and just putting on big parties. This place has been like a major factor in it.
You enjoyed that?
Yeah, man, it was lovely, man. I didn't realise they put up the marquee this time. There's a lot of people in there. It's crazy hype.
You played down here before then,
I've played it loads of times. I'm gutted it's closing. It's the end of an era.
What's your best memory then? Slamming Vinyl, Sanctuary, got one?
Well, just then was wicked.
You guys have to change your style when you come somewhere like this?
Totally. Yeah. Usually, he DJs and I MC.
Oh, okay.
When we go somewhere like this, we do it the other way around.
Cool.
Somewhere like Fabric or with a longer set, you can go a little bit deeper. But somewhere like this, people just want it like up, like totally up. A lot of really good raves here. It's a shame, it's a shame the venue's going.
I didn't want it to end. I knew it was the last one, so I was like, come on, more. Let's go.
Last one for C. Last one, 9 miles.
That was tearing in there.
That was a perfect way to go out. We've been coming here for years and years, and very rarely have I seen an atmosphere like that. First time we've ever done a back-to-back after all these years.
You know, back-to-back, 3 decks, end of the era, as they say. The first time I ever played it, I think, was end of 92, 93 for Dreamscape, Murray, R.I.P. Today, to see it, you know, 2004, me and him, Skibbity, 3 deck, amazed me. And like to see the energy still there, the same as it was, you know, 10, 11 years ago, yeah, it's really took me away, and I don't say that often. My tunes, I played his tunes, we played each other's, did a bit of scratch. I loved it, the fact that he could be in a mix, I could be scratch. I've never done that with another DJ, and there's not many I would do it with. Everything that you heard was just vibes, you know. Feed off the crowd. Yeah, you just get on it and go, and that's it. And if the system's right and the crowd's right, there's no holding back.
Got a best memory of this place?
That's one of them, I'll tell you, man. Immediately it comes to mind. I mean, I've been playing, first few times coming down, it was a wicked buzz back in the day, and there've been a lot of good nights down here, and we're sorry to see it go, you know, but time moves on, and hopefully everyone's going to have a good night down here tonight and send it off proper, you know. It's absolutely jam-packed. I think the queues are still going all the way down the block.
The energy from the kids all in here has been amazing, you know, really. And it keeps people like me who's been doing it 15 years, knows, yeah, we still keep the faith. 500 years. It was all fields when I came here before. Like me and him have been speaking, and this is probably the start of saying that we want to continue, not every week.
What, you talk, what, back-to-back stuff?
Yeah, do something.
There you go.
It went off. It went off ridiculous. You know, and it's for the people as well.
Can we have some noise for Mr. Mampy Swift, please?
Last ever set at the Sanctuary, man.
Yeah, it was, man. It's going to be a shame, mate. I've never played at a rave like this until I played in here. So it's special, man.
This is nice, no?
This is what it's all about, man. If you got any doubts about drum and bass, just have a look, man. Have a look.
How many people you reckon here tonight?
I reckon, all in all, there's about 8,000 people here. 3 arenas and they're all packed out.
I mean, when did it all start for you at Sanctuary?
I used to rave in here, mate, myself. Do you know what I mean? At Jungle Fever and everything else. And that's how long I've been playing here. Fever was in about 94, so that's 10 years ago, do you know what I mean?
All over, man, all over.
It's the end of an era, though.
The Sanctuary for what it is of raving house and amazing. We out of here. Peace out.
Hi, this is Roni Size and you're watching Code of the Streets.
Yo, how you doing? This is the Code of the Streets, and I'm RC3. What you're going to hear now is a full interview myself.
I just basically want to know how you got into the whole thing.
It's good, I like that. Rolling up through raving, listening to tunes at home, in my friend's house, and radio. Now, MCing, I kind of got into just by chance. It was just a bit of fun in my friend's bedroom, picking up headphones and just mucking about. And that was it.
When did it start becoming serious?
94, definitely 94. The club I used to do it for in 93, I opened the club in 94 as well, in the Royal Club on Wednesdays. So then they were like, we like you, you know, we want to consider you, you know, as residents. So that's when I started thinking, hey, someone's taking me serious. Then I got on a station called Transmission 1, which was in Ladbroke Grove, which had people associated to it that went to my school and the whole kind of thing. And in 94, Carnival was when I kind of made my name. But then things went a bit quiet for me for a while. And I was just pure radio. And then we get on to 95, where I become resident at Samantha's nightclub. So I'd say, yeah, 94 is when it started. I just liked doing it. I liked shout, I just liked it, just enjoyed it. So.
Which bit of it? Hyping up the crowd or just the whole sort of performance?
At that time there, hyping up the crowd, definitely. The very first time, it was definitely hyping up the crowd. I weren't thinking about what we're saying or nothing. I think what makes the MCing unique in drum and bass is, I think the production makes you chat in a certain way or chat fast. Do you know what I mean? That's why you get MCs now, the up and comers. That's why they're so into they love the fast, that chat anyway, but I think beats is so faster and productions is harder. It just makes you want to, I don't know, it brings it out of you, I don't know.
So it's all about the music, really?
Yeah, I think it's the music that's got a lot to, although a lot of MCs are influenced by like hip hop, ragga and that, so they kind of combine the whole thing, and drum and bass has got it all, hasn't it? It's got everything in it, so you can mix those lot up, listen to that, get ideas, and then try and put it together into drum and bass. Drum and bass is a concept. Drum and bass is a culture. Drum and bass is something different.
I think drum and bass is in a good state right now.
Yeah, I think it's in a good state. Yeah, it's okay. I'm not complaining, so hey, you know, lovely ravers, walking your ass. You're doing something that you love and enjoy. Punters that are happy as well. That's what makes me happy, when you see ravers happy and people telling you things like, I've had such a bad day today, but you've made my day. That's what I love. That's what I feel my job is, you know? If we go back about 5-6 years ago, like MCing and stuff, like drum and bass and stuff, when I MC, I enjoy the tunes and do that, enjoy the crowd. But you know what's weird? When people used to do interviews and say, oh, I'm passionate and stuff, I never used to quite understand it. But you know what? Now I do. A couple of years later, I've never felt so passionate about it. Like the scene, especially the ravers, man. Seeing them, when they say those things, man, you don't know what an effect it's got when they're just there. It's like comparing it to a football match when your team comes out and Chelsea come out in that stadium, and it's just like, yeah. It's a nice mix and blend. It's just what we have in drum and bass, and that's how we like it.
Have you travelled much?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I just come up from Germany on Saturday, actually. Germany's wicked. Germany's brilliant. Germany is one of the first to integrate with the jungle, isn't it? To mix with the jungle, drum and bass, and it's still firing. I can't say the last time I went to Germany and I had a bad one. I can't say, because when I've been there, it's always good. Canada's running. Canada's brilliant. They're very clued up out there. Portugal's all right. Obviously, UK, of course. Can't beat UK, that's where I'm from. All right, mate? Yeah, mate, see? It's good to talk to everyone.
But some people don't really like to talk to the punters.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. I like to hear what they say. Drum and bass is massive there, no? But this is drum and bass. Drum and bass, look forward. New MCs coming through, and it's all good.
What do you think of them?
They're very motivated, you know. Yeah, take the CD. I want to do. Yeah, what do you think? It's like, be honest with me, and it's good, man. It's good. When I was coming through, it wasn't really like that. You know what I mean? I personally think it's more harder for a new DJ to come through than an MC. I think the MC, I think the doors are open a bit more. It is quite tight up there.
Do you think it's about who you know or what you know, or a bit of both?
I think it's a bit of both. But regardless, though, if you sound good, if you're good, you're good. That's it. You come through, you're good. You know. I remember coming through, you sit 96, and people, you listen to a tape. Who's playing? You just don't know. And that's one thing I picked up. I thought, okay, cool. When I do eventually get up there, I'll always know who's playing, man. That's one of the main MC's job. That's what I feel. To big up the DJ, just whoever you're playing with. You see him nodding their head a little bit, and do you know what I mean? Obviously asking for a rewind and doing that. You know, it's respect as well. It's a strange world, you know, but life is good, no? I live in a world mixed with many different people. The most strangest thing is drum and bass. I used to be well shy, man. I remember 94, that's it, Champagne Bash VIP, that's it, September 90, no, that's 95. That's one of my first things as well in Astoria. You know where I was emceeing? Behind the stage.
Really?
Yeah, on the stage, behind the curtain, like this. Where is he? When I look back at that now, I think, oh.
So how did you overcome that?
What gets me on that stage now is the ravers and the DJ. It's the same, the combo, those tunes and the ravers. Drum and bass right now, say absolutely booming.
Okay, well, thanks for talking to us today. Got anything to say to your fans?
Big up all the real ravers and all the punters and everyone abroad and everyone, much love and thank you very much. Arrivederci and adios. Trust me, man. You come with me, with that camera, we'll have so much fun. Yeah, you. This is the IC3 show. You might think I'm crazy, but I'm not. We're doing some crazy stuff. I'm IC3, and I want to know what the hell's going on. This is a nutter. Come, now, watch. You watch this. Excuse me, I'm looking for Sarah O'Connor. You know where I can find her, please? Looking for Sarah O'Connor. Can't find Sarah O'Connor.
Zero?
Yeah, Sarah O'Connor.
One time, please.
I'll be back.
This is Sway, S-W-A-Y, from the Cypher Productions, and you're watching Code of the Streets.
Hi, I'm DJ Carnage. We're here at the Origin FM studio and we're going to be talking to a few of the DJs and MCs about the station.
The station started off in December 1999. We play the music right from the origin of drum and bass. Certain DJs come on and play like really tear out drum and bass, some that play a bit of a mixture, so you know we try to keep it across the board, you know what I mean? That's what Origin is all about.
It's all about a fun vibe on Origin, really, man. Drums is supposed to be like a bouncing, jump up and down, everyone loving and feeling kind of thing. It's all about the music, basically, and the occasional tree lyric, and that's about it, right? You know what I'm saying?
We get loads of supports from DJs and stuff, you know, like Brian G sends us so much stuff, Hype, Simon Bassline Smith, Adam F, do you know what I mean? Slowly, they're all coming round, do you know what I mean? Knowing that, you know, this is where it happens, you know what I mean? This is where it all starts off. Phone line doesn't stop ringing, you know, it's just like, it's so real, you know what I mean? You can be doing your show, you know what I mean, and someone will call in and say, yeah, you know, play this for me and play that, and you got in your bag, you play it for them, and then, you know, you can be talking about a night that you went to last night and they'll phone and say, yeah, I was there.
Shout out to Hayley once again. Still looking for that one. Shout out to the crew locked on, locked in. Rolling with the Origin 952.
This last studio we was using, the actual DTI, Department of Trade and Industry, came to check out an antenna on top of the roof, which was using to link and they wanted to check it out before they applied for a warrant. I think all we left them was like a couple of old bass bins and some dirty couch, you know what I mean? So we was quite lucky, man. We was quite lucky because we could have had a studio rave, you know what I mean? But touch wood, we haven't had one, man. And I think if you keep it real on the mic, I mean, there's certain things the DJ don't like: drugs, guns, sex, you know what I mean? If you keep it sort of about the music, I think they tend to leave you alone. That's the view I've got in my head. There's some stations that there was one, I ain't gonna name no names, there's some like they're selling, yeah, you want crack, yeah? Yeah, I mean, phone this number right now, and I think they got raided the next day, you know what I mean? I mean, if the DJ want to find you, they'll find you. There's two ways of linking. There's band one, which is done through like a band one like a CB is, you know what I mean? And we can link like that. And there's another way of microwave linking, which is a bit more harder to track. I mean, that's the most securest way. If I was going to advise anyone to set up a pirate, I'd advise them to use microwave, you know what I mean?
Yes, so we bring it out, so you're representing.
How important do you think pirates are to the drum and bass scene at the moment?
For myself, growing up, I mean, before I could get into a rave and before I could like buy tunes, it's pirates. I mean, all the pirates in London, man. You know what I mean, they're doing such a great job, man. And,
Definitely.
And a lot of these record labels and promoters, they think, yes, it's a load of rubbish, man. But it's not, man. It's not. You know, without the pirates, half of these kids won't hear the tunes. You know what I mean? They go to the raves, they know the tunes because they heard them on the pirates. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of these record labels should start recognising that. This is where it starts.
People need to recognise that there's mans on the radio stations that are spending a lot of their money on tunes, right? To bring the newest tunes to the listeners, and a lot of people don't realise how much effort these people are putting in.
Without us buying the records, they won't have no money. No money in their pocket. So really, they've got. If the scene needs some new breed, if you ask me, there's too many top DJs that are not putting 100% nowadays as well. I go out to rave and I hear top DJs that think they're cutting it and they're not cutting nothing at all, man. There's new breed out there that need to come out there, but it's hard to squeeze out there, man. Who's hearing what without the station?
Exactly. All the kids people who ain't got money to rave, they're too young to rave, you know.
Send out to the extra smashy. We got this junglist, we got Chucky. Send out to the Rumble Smashing Soldiers.
Do you always have trouble with people while you're MCing at raves? Trying to take the mic
Yeah,
off
of course, man. You always get people doing that, man. But I ain't passing the mic to you, bruv. Don't waste my time. I'm in the middle of my thing. I ain't passing you the mic, bruv. I do appreciate it because when I was a youth, obviously I tried my hardest to like get on the mic, you get me? But them young boys need to just take it easy. Like, come and do 4 years on Origin first. You get me? Come and do the apprenticeship. Let people know what you're dealing with first.
Yeah, big shout goes out to Duplo Driver. Little special mix there.
No sort of respect to call, because I know some guys offer call at the moment anyway, but there's been times where I've tuned into these two on a Friday and I'll be just like watching and like Jarvis keep me on the edge of my seat, you know what I mean? The tunes are playing out of the system and it's just like, it's all good because it's like crystal clear, Bubble Green and South London's times that I'm listening to it and I'm thinking, fuck me, you know what I mean? Like, Origin's getting out far, you know what I mean? Like, it's doing good. And you listen to call sometimes, it's just like you get all this like nasty feedback. Like it won't sound so great sometimes, you know what I mean?
Just send a big shout out to the Code of the Streets crew inside right now.
You know what gets on my nerves, Where all them other garage stations, they got no music to play no more,
And they start
playing drums. Move on, next question.
Get up in the morning, get dressed, get out, see people, talk. Don't stay on the internet all day. That's my code of the streets. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm Keaton, aka The Usual Suspect, and this is the section of the DVD where we're going to be interviewing some of your favourite drum and bass artists. So if you want to come with me. And here we are, Mr. D-Bridge, the legend of the Bad Company crew. Come through. Come in. So D-Bridge, here we are in the studio.
Pretty basic setup over the years, kind of refined it down to 2 basic bits of equipment, my laptop and my babies, my Mackie speakers.
Right. Do you think you can tell the difference between stuff that's been done all in digital? Obviously you're bouncing this internally, or stuff that's running through an EMU in a desk.
If you've got the ear for it, you can hear a difference, but it's almost like, can the average raver notice the difference? Record buyer. There is an argument that the sound has degraded a bit since, you know, talking to engineers, you know, the mastering engineers at Heathman's and Exchange, Simon, and they're like, yeah, they've noticed there's been a difference in sound quality. But I think that was more to do with people making a transition to software and getting used to it.
Not getting it right.
Yeah, and weren't getting it right the first time around. But now it's kind of like people are really getting their heads around it and getting good sounds out of it.
So what about an average D-Bridge tune? Like how would you normally start your tune?
I'd have like 2-3 weeks of collecting samples. Living around here, I've got a lot of cool little record shops, so I can go and find old things, collect them all, sample them, cut them up, and then I've got like that month's batch of samples. Like the way my sample is set up, I've got it broken down into each month. It's what the month's samples, do you know what I mean?
Right, okay. So what's the first thing you get up though?
It's always the beats, man.
Always the beats?
Has to be.
So you get your groove going, you get your beats, and then what's next? Laying sounds, or you go straight for bass?
Generally it's the sounds next. Something that's going to give me the direction in which, do you know what I mean, say the bass line's going to go.
Do you want to show us something you'd be doing on, you know?
Yeah, why not?
Alright.
Alright, for me...
We're running Logic now, yeah?
So yeah, I'll get a break up.
Yeah.
Get that running. And I'm kind of like, the way I work is like, I like layering things. I prefer to create or make a break because I use recycle to cut things up.
Yeah.
And then to get the MIDI file as well. So within my sampler, so this is it.
Yeah.
I've got all these, all these breaks. So using a Cook Congo. So on my hard drive, I've got the MIDI file for that break as well.
Right.
So Cook Congos. So now I can just drag that MIDI file into the arrangement.
Yeah.
And usually it'll probably be, because it's going to usually be a little bit, you'll see it's like a little bit at a time.
So you've taken, a 1-bar loop in recycle, chopped it all of the accent points, and then you're bringing it in, and so it's playing its original groove right now.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna quantize.
Yeah, now I'm gonna quantize it, just to tighten it up a little bit.
Right. The main break is just one break now. You're saying when we hear that finished D-Bridge or Bad Company product, the break that we hear is normally a combination of what, 3 or 4 breaks? Or?
Yeah, kind of like I'll listen to it, and if it sounds heavy enough, then it's cool. But more often than not, I may layer the bass and the snare with another foot drum or snare.
Yeah.
That I'll know will add weight. For that kind of thing, I tend to use hip hop drums.
Right.
Because their kits are just a lot. I don't know. It's just
cleaner
and
snap and.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm obviously just gonna follow the foot to the original breaks.
Follow the rhythm. More weight.
Yeah, just adding a bit more weight to it.
And then you carry on to do that with snare and beat.
Yeah, I'll have to maybe find a snare or listen to it. I might want to put some kind of jiggy in there, like a little, little flutter of a roll. I basically put it through this bad boy here, the PSP vintage warmer.
Yeah.
This just like it's like automatic fatness. Do you know what I mean?
Your D-Bridge, your Bad Company. I know you're doing a lot of DJing and producing on your own rather than just with a crew. Like, what's really going on with you now?
Because I was in that kind of unit, it was hard for people to really hear what I was about.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So in a way, it's almost like you can get lost within the group. Fresh was the first to kind of step away from BC. He's gone out there and he's made a name for himself as an individual.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, I can do that as well, and I was ready for that as well. Bad Company had this knack of producing anthems in a way. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So Like the tunes that I make on my own aren't really that way inclined. They're not designed to smash up a dance floor.
Yeah.
Whereas BC tunes really were. The way your studio is designed makes a difference. Do you know what I mean? And it was very one player, our studio. There's always like one person in control, and then you got the seats around the outside.
I know that vibe. Yeah.
Shot Down on Safari. I don't know, really have nothing to do with that album. I was going through. I think a lot of producers go through that in the stage. They're kind of like unsure of whether they really want what they're doing and what they're involved in.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I was like, I wasn't in a happy place personally myself. I wasn't really feeling what was going on. I stepped away from drum and bass and I moved. You know, I went in and started working with my brother Spacek and helped him on his album. Whilst,
which is what? That's a hip hop project, right?
Yeah, it's hip hop. He was signed to K7, and you know, I did some tracks on that, and it was cool because I was like, because I've been so caught up in drum and bass for so many years, you lose sight of a lot of things. I had a year and a half where I really wasn't happy and wasn't in it, and now it's kind of like I've come back, and the dynamics of DC has changed. You know what I mean? Fresh is doing his thing now, and now I'm kind of like, yeah, I feel like I need to do my solo project. So it's like I feel a lot, you know what I mean, a lot stronger, a lot better because. Whereas before, like I said, because you're in that group, only part of your voice will ever be heard. You know, now people can just hear me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this time, in a way, it's like I know it's like a selfish attitude, but sometimes as a musician, you need to.
Do you know
what I mean?
Obviously, your stuff's always been musical. You can hear there's a lot of musical talent in Bad Company, but rather than the music being played with kind of noisy, angry sounds or keys, I'm noticing your solo work's a lot lighter.
Yeah, in my head, it's like aggressively beautiful. That's the term I've kind of coined for myself. It's got the weight, but it's still got the melody. It's got melodies and it's got soul. And it's
so you're keeping the beats hard and the bass hard, but the flavours on top is what's making it a bit different. What tips would you give to aspiring, up-and-coming drum and bass producers out there?
People get too caught up in tunes. Kind of like, I've got tens of thousands of loops on there. Do you know what I mean? And I'll almost find that there may be one in every 20 that will get finished, or is any good. So it's like, don't over listen to things. Get some good speakers. These are my weapons of choice. The HR824s, Mackeys. Choose your sequencer, do you know what I mean? And just really get to know it. Really, you know, and just fiddle around and just have a look around at things and look at what things do. Don't be afraid to just try things out. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to blow up in your face. So it's like, give everything a go, man. Just try it all.
Well, that's wicked, man.
Cool, man.
Nice one.
Thanks for coming around.
So what I'm saying on Code of the Streets is there's only one code of the streets, and that's the green cross code. Because there's some crazy drivers out there. So kids need to be aware and look both ways before you cross the road.
We're in the legendary Heatwave Studios in East London, and today we're going to be talking to DJ Hype about his labels True Players, Ganja Records, and his forthcoming LP Dubplate Killers, and more importantly, the fact that he's celebrating 15 years in the game.
Hype.
Cool. Right, first off, we're going to be talking about the album that you're promoting, Dubplate Killers.
It's kind of there to put Ganja back to what it used to be, you know, like, yeah, it's a force to be reckoned with again, and it's probably going to be an ongoing series, because the success of this one sort of give me the vibe, the Dubplate Killer, the whole sort of concept of it. You know, we're already sort of thinking about Dubplate Killers Volume 2.
Lately you've been bringing in a lot of new artists through to your stable, i.e. kind of Hazard and Potential Bad Boy and that. What made you decide to kind of open the gates with players? And
Age, mate, age. No, I think I don't write at the rate I used to. I can't, you know, like, I'm just too busy. It's very difficult to just be in a studio 24/7. I can't. Them days for me are done. Anyone I've ever worked with has kind of gone on to do well, and I didn't really sort of analyse that until about 2-3 years ago. I just thought, why not use the knowledge and wisdom that I've learned over the years to bring in other artists and help them to bring them forward, and I do enjoy that. So the new artist thing kind of helps me help them, stops me feeling like I have to be a machine, and it's more relaxing, and it's helped me find my feet again, to be honest, because I feel like I'm back to where I'm very comfortable as a producer and a DJ now. Whereas sometimes as a producer, one minute I feel like I'm on top of it, other times I feel like where am I going with all this? And it's took the whole pressure off of that, because now I can, my whole thing is to guide the other artists, and then me just there as a little bit.
So what's next on the roster for Players in Ganja release-wise?
We've got remix stuff from Hive and Bogeyman, Hive and Friction.
Okay.
From, they were part of a Players Lounge, was it Extended Players EP last year. They've done remixes. They're going to probably come on a 12 or even picture disc. I've got a 12 from A Size and Fats that is kind of leading on to a Fats album that we're sort of in the middle of trying to sort out, like who's going to be producing what tracks where. Potential, we're just about to start a new label with him, for him as well.
Solely for him?
Yeah, like his thing as well as him doing stuff for us. I'm trying to just branch it all and make artists not feel like they're just, signed and tied and they've got no way of doing their own thing, because I think if you do that, in the end they're gonna go.
Got your monthly Fabric as well, haven't you, the True Players label night?
At first I wasn't that enthusiastic, because I thought, well, we got the end, everything's going great here, what if we go there and it don't work, But then I also realised, which the club said, if you don't do it, we're going to give it to, they named about 3 or 4 different nights that were like next in. So I knew that whoever does it is going to be up against me on the same night. And I thought, that being the bigger, newer super club, I'd be a fool not to at least go in there and try it. So we went in there and we ain't looked back since. If you want to hear me, I always say the best place to hear me, last Friday of the month, 2-hour free deck set in Fabric. I think any DJ who comes to my night and doesn't get a response, then there's something wrong with him. And it doesn't matter what style. I don't care if it's Fabio playing, even Bookham. I'd like to get Bookham down there, but because he books me for his nights. When I was first doing that, people were like, even I said that when he phoned me. I remember a good-looking lot phoning me up. They're like, yeah, we want to book you. And I'm like, you know who I am? I'm like, you know who this is, didn't you? I'm like, it's hype. I'm like, what do you think? I'm going to come and play like Bookham? And they're like, no, we just want you to play what you play.
So you've got a bi-weekly show on Kiss that you share with Adam F. How important do you feel Kiss is for you to kind of reach like a mass audience?
Hype started on Pirate Radio, and it showed me straight away the power of it. Now, if you're into drum and bass, loathe me or love me, you know who the bloody hell I am. I don't need to be on there to get my name out there. The reason I do it is because, in my eyes, the people I play to on a weekly basis, there's still loads of people who probably don't go out ever, who love the music. So I do it more to capture the audience that maybe wouldn't hear me in the clubs.
What's your view on the whole illegal MP3 downloading websites?
It's very difficult, because as a record company and an artist, I hate them, obviously, because they're stealing from me and selling it. But from a punter's point of view, I mean, I'm a punter, and we all do it, as much as you want to say you don't. When I was 15, there weren't MP3s, there weren't even CDs, there was tape or record. Records then cost, I don't know, say $5 for an import. I didn't have no money. I'd tape everything. Now, if at that time I could have MP3'd it, I would have MP3'd it. So I don't endorse it, but I understand. But it is dangerous, because what it's done is it's really brought down the value of music. A download sells for what, 99p or whatever it is, and I know people that are getting like 5p back from it. Look at films. Films are perfect. They spend, imagine a film, the guy would spend 100 million on his film, and before he put it in the pictures, everyone's got it on fucking DVD on pirate. So if they can't stop it, I can't phone up me and Andy C and go, you know what, right, let's go down the bank, draw out 100 million and put a stop to this. We're on a totally different planet.
Right, now apart from all the day-to-day run-ins of the D&B scene, you're celebrating 15 years in the game, even before the game was going. It's kind of an impossible question to answer, but how would you say that you kind of stayed on top of the tree kind of thing?
I think 3 factors, without sounding, well, I hope I don't come across you know, this is what I honestly think is hard work, obviously. Self-belief, because I mean, when we started, we were so confident and we so believed that what we were doing, and I've always felt that way. Like at the, you know, like when I was on the up, I always felt like it's me against them. We're better than them. We're better. We'll show them. You know, it's all the corny cliches that, you know, that I've had it with interviews. They go, oh, it's a bit corny, and I'm like, well, it's the truth, mate. You come where I come, I'll show you a prison full up of people. Yeah. And it's not a gloat. It's not a, you know, it's not. Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah. I mean, I'm a product of my environment, where I brought up, and I'm one of the lucky ones that ain't got a bullet in his head, ain't doing 10 years stretch. You know, hasn't got like the London Mafia after me. You know, I'm not gonna give this away. You know, I'm like, this is very close to my heart.
So as I said earlier on in the interview, we're here at the Heatwave Studios in East London. Tell us a bit about your background, pre-jungle, pre-hardcore. Like, let's talk about when you started off, like you were saying, spinning reggae.
Well, I started off at a school called Brookhouse. Let's go way back. I mean, at 11, my first music was ska, like Specials, Madness, Selector, the whole two-tone thing. Right. And then we quickly, by the age of 12, had left that and went straight into reggae. How, I don't know. But I remember going to a reggae dance and had mod clothes on that I nicked from car. I had a mod tie and a hat and a two-tone trousers. And I remember this dread sort of not being horrible, but was like, I'm coming to dance just like that. And I'm about this big, walking around and looking at big stacks of speakers and just loved it. I loved it. Right. And then we started a little sound in school where we were basically anybody who had it. You got any speakers? Has your mum got a speaker? We were going around everybody's house, pulling the speakers out of their mum's hi-fis and just making these boxes. Yeah. And then it developed and developed to where we got, you know, this is like,
the original sound.
Well, this is the original sound from about 20 years ago. That still works, still made with our hands. Yeah. Wood stolen. We used to nick the wood from a wood yard. I mean, the amp case, if you come and look down here, all this is like the preamp. These are the power amps. There's a graphic. I mean, it's old, but it's great. We once built one that was literally from here to here. It was this massive speaker with a big smiley face and two big. We did a party and we couldn't get it in the house. Like, we didn't figure out, like, hang on a minute. And we had to actually go around the back of this house, take out all the windows, and in the end, when we got it in the house, we couldn't get it out again, so we sawed it in half. It was just like, and that was at the age of about 14.
Because you entered DMC as well and won a few heats.
No, well, I used to get to the South England finals, and what I found, I kind of got very disillusioned with DMC because I entered a couple of heats where I won. And then I entered a couple of heats where before I even went on the decks, I remember this guy, I used to see him and he's like, it's fixed, you know. And I'm like, how can it be fixed? He's like, trust me, this guy's going to come first, this guy's going to come second, and he's going to be third. He's like, you watch, it don't matter what you do. Don't get me wrong, they pick good winners, but what they have a habit of doing is if they have favourites, and it's like, say you're great, you could perform shit on this night, they're still going to put you through because they know you're really good. Whereas I'm like, it's supposed to be on how you perform on the night. Right. And I think the last DMC I entered was in Regals in Uxbridge in about 1988 or 89. Right. And I was there with about 20 men from the Manor. And they went there, the competition's so good, we're putting 3 through this year. And I didn't even get 3rd place. And I was fuming. And I was standing there feeling sorry for myself, and a bottle just went past my head, and I was like, what the f? And I looked right, and all my mates were just going berserk, throwing all the bottles and that, going, fix. And they're the ones that believe me. I've won ones where they've said to me, oh shit. So I knew that, you know, and it made me feel better, and nobody came and stopped us, and then we left the club. And then the next day we had to go to Chippenham because my mate was in the MC competition, and they called me backstage. He was like, there's not going to be any trouble tonight, is there? And I'm like, well, if it ain't fixed, there won't be.
This is Man P Swift. You're watching Code of the Streets live here at the Sanctuary, the last ever Sanctuary. What a shame. Peace.
Yeah, this is DJ Friction. You're locked into Code of the Streets. We're on the road tonight. We're on the way now to Swindon for the Valve party. I've got to do 12 till 1 there. And then back into London for 3 till 4 at the CIA album launch party. So it shouldn't be too hectic. Going to probably get to Swindon about midnight. So I'll probably be bang on in time to play my set. That's where we're going. See that up there? The Valve nights are always wicked because the sound, you just know, at least I know that I can go now. I'm just going to draw out some B-line tunes because like the bass is just going to be lashing it up. So yeah, it'll be good, man. I always look forward to playing on the Valve. Night in London is Total Science's album launch party. Yeah, so that's going to be lively as well. So yeah, hopefully be 2 good parties tonight, man. So yeah, I think we're about 15 minutes away from the venue in Swindon, so our time should work out just right. I'm starting to get pranked now that we've actually missed the turn-in, man. Hold on, where are we going? Is this the first roundabout, do you think, that it says turn right at the roundabout towards the town? No, hopefully, yeah, town centre mini roundabout, yeah? Would you say that's a mini roundabout? I suppose it is, isn't it? Right, left, right. You know what, I'm just going to pull over. Left at mini roundabout, at the next roundabout is right onto something road. Go straight on and then right, turn left, it's got to be right here, isn't it? Right, so left or right. Excuse me, do you know where Specsavers is? No? Sweet. Nearly on time as well. Love it, just going out and just DJing everywhere. Like, it's what I've worked to do my whole life. I've always been a DJ. I was a DJ before I got into production. I got into production really to help push my DJ career because I've been mixing since I was young, man, like school. Like, if I'm 27 now, I think I was about 14. I love playing music to people, man. I love mixing and that. So yeah, man, this is me. I want to do this for the next 10 years. At least. You've got to be able to make tunes, you've got to be able to DJ, and you've got to have the contacts. Sometimes people say, oh, this game's just about who you know, but it's not. I think it's about who you know, about what you can do. It's about everything. You've got to have you've got to try and have everything. And it is a lot of hard work, you know. I'm working in 17-hour days at the moment, pretty much. I'm in the studio, I'm doing business, I'm going to bed and I'm waking up and I'm back on it again, and then it gets to the weekend. And I'm out and about. I've never worked as hard as I am at the moment. The last month's been ridiculous. I just haven't stopped. You know, I've worked good 9-to-5 jobs. You know, I sold cars before. That's the job that I gave up to do this. And, you know, I worked hard then, but I don't think I worked as hard as I do now.
You know, you have to work hard to maintain it, because at the end of the day, everyone wants a piece of the pie. I always try and like arrange it with my agent. Like, I don't like packing loads of things in and being late.
Oi, what's happening, mate? Yeah, cool. I'm gonna be late though.
Do you know what I mean? It's the worst feeling.
I don't know, it's like I've got an hour and 10 minutes and I'm about 80 miles away.
You just got to lash it out and just get there as quickly as possible, man. It's not a good thing to drive fast, so for all those kids out there in their cars, don't drive fast. It's very bad that I'm driving fast. I'm going to get told off when people see this.
All ganja man in the house. Put them on the truck.
Tonight's been cool, man. 6:32 and I want to go to bed. You know what I mean? Nice one, Ollie. Big up Code of the Streets.
This is Kenny Ken and you're watching Code of the Streets.
They'll give me tunes and I'm like, whoa!
It's not typical drum and bass, but it does have its own kind of individual quality.
It's not going down the usual kind of route. It's such a wicked piece of music.
On this DVD, you'll meet all the misfits and freaks, everyone involved in hospital.
Yeah, I'm going for my sound. Thinking the 100 the city, the 100 again, the 100 the 100 the sweat.
Yeah.
Done.
Mumpy Swift, yeah. Fearless. MC Fearless and X-Man.
Nicky Black Market.
P again. Swifty. Who do you think's gonna win? What, the best DJ? Yeah.
Put Dangerous D on there and MC Bassman. Get to know.
Mickey Finn. Mickey Finn.
There were hard times.
Black Market. Camera. Best MC. Black Market.
Staring into the network.
Angel and best producer.
Give those Aussies some credit. We went to again on the innovation last year.
It's always about Skibber.
It's always about the Skibber.
They were blind.
Before we start, can everyone make some noise inside, please?
The vibes are right here tonight.
Yeah, definitely, man. As you can see, you know what I mean? This is just part of the vibe. All down there as well, you know, so. Wicked
I
vibing.
should say, you just won the award for best internet radio station for Pyrotechnic Radio. What was the best rave of the year? There you go.
Well, you know, it has to be this one, you know. We won an award that.
We don't go to other raves and get awards, you know what I mean?
All right, then we're gonna move to best radio station. Make some real stinking noise for Cool FM.
We've been through a lot and we're still here, and to get the award, it means a lot to us, the whole family, Eastman, Smurf.
What do you think of the venue?
It's rap, and it's doing the job, I think this is the kind of thing every rave should be like.
It's a good shout, man. Party's going off. A lot of people in here, like you said, nice ladies. I can see some good parties going off here, man. If this is the first one, yeah, definitely.
Was it good for you to see Cool FM winning? And
Definitely, as always, man. You know what I mean? I always represent Cool FM. I've been on Cool FM for about 7-8 years now. That's my crew there, that's my family. That's where I started my career from, Cool FM. Skibbity always going to represent that. Blazing vibes, you know what I mean? Good vibes. Got to big up the accelerator culture, find a new venue, you know what I mean? So we can rep it properly. Big up all the crew that turned out, representing for the awards, man.
And who would you be choosing for MC of the Year?
It's quite hard. I mean, you know, there's the top guys, man. Shabba, Dare, Fearless, X-Man, IC3, they're all in the running for it, man. So.
Big up Skibber.
Yeah.
Some noise. The one, the only Pressure, best new coming MC.
Since I come third last year, all I've been doing is like thinking, okay, people are taking me seriously now, I'm going to work. And that's what I was aiming for this year. Just what I've worked for all year. So to get it, it's everything, man, everything.
1, 2, 1, 2. Who's ready for DJ Zing? Best lyrical MC for 2004. In first bomber clock place, there is a new winner. Brand new winner. There is a new winner. And I'm calling X-Man. Make some noise.
Last year I won Best Newcomer, this year I've won Best Lyrical, so that's like a big leap, and I'm just happy, man. It's like to all the people supporting and to the ravers.
What advice would you give to an up-and-coming MC coming through right now?
I would say, you know, just keep on doing what you're doing, try and be original. You know, when you flow, don't just try and roll your tongue, because that don't make it anymore. You got to like come with lyrical content and just keep on doing what you're doing. That's what I would say. What would you say?
Big up X-Man anyway. Yeah. Award winner, lyrical, big up, man, maximum. Code of the streets.
Let's see it, let's see it.
X-Man. Make some noise for X-Man, man. Best crowd hype MC. First place. I want to big up my friend. I'm Reggie, long time. Fearless. Make some noise for Fearless, man.
You know what, coming here I was nervous. I was absolutely nervous. Last year, I thought it was a fluke. And I've done my shit this year and it's recognised. You know what, I'm gonna keep this at my house, but this is yours. Oh, give me a group up. Group up, group up.
We're gonna drop the best album category now. And in first place, from Wales, High Contrast, with the LP High Society on Roseville Records. Suddenly there was a change.
What do the awards mean to you?
I mean, Select Culture Awards is a good award. It's one that I will support because it's the people, do you know what I mean? Not someone just on a computer tapping, it's actually people that go out, buy the music, rave and dance to the music. So it's a real award, it's real.
Good view up here.
Wicked view, mate, look at that.
Well, what do you think of the new venue then? Better than Sanctuary?
Venue, wicked venue. Wicked, it's like a proper arena, man. It's not enough, look, it's like at the front. They should have like another 4 stacks.
Every wall.
Exactly, that's what I would have done.
On the stands.
That's what I would have done.
label category. And in first place, deservedly so, is Ram Records. Just like to say thank you for everybody voting.
Miles, legend, been there from day one, you know, founding father of Ram Records, Red One, Shimon, Moving Fusion, the new crew, Nightbreed, Eddie Wu, Sub Focus, who's just come through this year with
We've been hearing a lot from him.
Oh, no doubt, man. I mean, no doubt, and that's what we want to do. We want to push the scene forward. Label's grown from nothing. It's 12 years old, and we want to carry through.
This incoming DJ, and the winner in first place, Mr. Friction Man.
I'm not sure whether to like laugh or cry best newcomer, because I've kind of like won a sort of best newcomer award 3 years on the trot, but it's all good.
I don't know how they define that one.
No, but you know, it's like different. It's quite a different market in a way. Like the whole kind of helter skelter, the big rave market for me, because I've only really come into it in the last year. So in a way, to some people, you know, I am a newcomer, and you know, it's all good. You know what I mean? Like, I just, you know, I love it all.
We have Pendulum with us. Best newcoming producer.
Yeah, we ended up picking up that and like the best producer, which is kind of spun out. We didn't think we'd do it.
Who would you choose as your best producer of the year, other than yourself?
Best new producer. I'd give it to Sub Focus. Yeah. Definitely. I felt it's stupid that he wasn't nominated this year. I think because he is on some next level things.
And what about the best DJ?
Best DJ? Andy, of course, man.
It's hard. Best DJ, it'd have to be rough stuff, wouldn't it? You know what I mean?
No, sorry. Most people have said, with the exception of you.
It'd have to be my dog Brian G, man.
The guy, they call him Bumpy Swift, no?
Right, is that Andy C, isn't it? Like usual?
I like Zinc. I like the way Zinc plays. I like the way Ed Rush plays.
I think Mampy Swift this year, to be honest.
My personal favourites are Zinc, Groove Rider, Fabio Bookham.
If I could vote, I'd give it to about 10 people.
And the winner is, in first place, Mr. Andy C. When I say Andy, you say Andy!
Sitting up here now in the view out from here, and the fact that everyone's come down for a good night tonight, 5:15, and it's still going large, mate. So,
what do you think of the new venue? Do you think it's a good replacement to the Sanctuary?
You know what? I couldn't hear a sound when I pulled up. I come in here and bassline was smashing. I ain't heard that in a rave like this of this scale for a long time. So
sound system for a while, isn't it? Definitely.
Not through, right? Because you drop the mixes and like everyone can feel the B lines, and you know it's there.
Function One's pretty good. It'd be nice to see some Valve in here too.
Well, no doubt, mate. Any sound system, I know the Valve systems smashed the place out, mate.
We had Carl in earlier.
He was eyeing it up. Yeah, he was surveying chest in the air pressure, right?
I think he likes a lower ceiling.
Switching, wouldn't it? His brain. Boxes down there, do the little labyrinth boxes. Yeah. I think 2004 has been a really good year for the scene. We're a hardcore scene, we're an underground scene, and we were sustained by people that have got passion, big passion. The hardcore underground following, exactly, the foundation's growing. So 2005 is looking very healthy indeed.
You think of tonight?
Tonight was banging, smashing. New venue was just kicking out a wicked time. Everyone come enjoy themselves. I never see no trouble. Nice vibes. Peace and love. Yeah? Peace and love.
Oh my gosh, wicked. You saying this is Code of the Streets? What are you reckon of tonight?
The streets, oh, you know what, hear what? I've got my brandy in a bag, yeah. The venue's grimy. The whole thing is good. Drum and bass is looking lovely, you know what I mean? And the Code of the Streets thing, bro, you know what? It's coming like a smackdown, and this is how we're gonna bust it now, a little freestyle. Yo, listen, yo, Code of the Streets, bust it neat, yo. Certain people are vegetarian, certain people eat meat, yo. Foxy, I got a different kind of flow, but right now, you know what? I'm gonna get back on the M1, yo. I'm gonna drive my 2.56 5'6". What's that, a V6? Yeah, it's fucking sick. 1'4", 130, but you know what? I'm not even going to do that. I'm going to do 70 because the whole police are over there, right? We're in Coventry right now. It's 2004. It's drum and bass. It was a really good show. There's been no trouble. Everything's nice. We're good to go. Hold tight, the police. Say yo. Was it a quiet night tonight? Good behaved people?
Pick up the good vibes.
Drum and bass. That's right, you know what I mean? They don't know what we know, yeah? That's what I'm saying. Big up the X-Man. Boy, I told you he was going to win that. I want my tenner, yeah? Code of the streets, baby.
This is Danny Holdtight, and you're watching Code of the Streets.
This is Ben from Holdtight, and you're watching Code of the Streets.
Here we are at the Truman Brewery Complex talking to the legendary Marcus Intalex of Solar Recordings.
How you doing?
We've just dashed over from your London residency at Plastic People. How did you find it? How was the crowd?
Well, obviously with what I do and the amount of travelling I do, I never get the chance to play first.
Yeah.
So it's a case of digging deep, just building a vibe up slowly. I like doing that, you know, and I like playing things that I might not get a chance to play at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'll play half an hour, 40 minutes of non-drum and bass, you know what I mean, just to, because that's what I'm into.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to rinse it out at 10 o'clock, you know what I mean? I don't try to rinse it out anyway, but that, you know what I mean, it's just like, here's a chance to do something a little bit different, warm it up, and then when drum and bass comes in, it actually lifts people anyway, it works.
Manchester parties as well.
Yeah, that's once a month. Yeah, that's going really well as well. Yeah.
How do you feel the vibe sort of differs from city to city?
When we do Manchester, it's just all our friends come down and it just ends up being a bit of a drunken bit of fun with your mates, basically. Then you come to London and it's a similar kind of thing, it's just more industry type people in there. I actually sometimes prefer playing in London when you get a good knowledgeable crowd in there and you just get that specific crowd just there for me and Dominic who know what we're going to do, then it's electric, man, it's really good.
Going on to talk about your label, when you started it, what were your creative aims for it?
Obviously, I've been involved in the music for a long time and involved at a really low level to start off with, that, working in record shops, buying records, scratching for promos, do reviews for Mixmag, anything just to get the records. So I've kind of seen it grow and I've always been in it from day one, but I've had my favourites and I'd known what sold because I've worked in record shops and stuff, and it was just a case of there's 2 or 3 labels, I like the angles, I like the way they're going, and eventually, if I always want to have a record label, eventually if I ever do, then I want to run it like this, trying to be progressive, push the music forward. I want to put a record out that, if it wasn't my record label, I want to buy it, just something that suits our taste, and suits the angle of what we're trying to do.
Have you got any plans for like a full-length LP?
We actually had a meeting last night. We are talking about doing a mystical album. I don't think it'll mean that all 3 of us in the studio at the same time. Right. It'll probably be combinations of 2 or individual tracks. I don't want to rush it. If it's not ready by the time we've said, then we'll just delay it and make sure that we're all happy with it. But that's the project for 2000. That's a big one for 2005.
How do you kind of divide your studio duties between you and ST Files?
We were together in one place, and we've kind of moved out because it wasn't really working at that place. In the meantime, I bought myself a G5 and just sat there in my bedroom thinking, if other people can do this, you know, it must be possible. You know, not saying it's easy, it just must be possible. You know, because we both technically know what we're doing, you know what I mean? But I've always left like things like mix downs and stuff to ST Files because he's good at it. You know what I mean? It's like no point me trying to tell him what to do when he knows what he's doing. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I wanted to be confident that I knew what I was doing as well. I kind of fell in love with just using Logic. It takes all the nonsense, all the hard work out of making music. It allows you to be more creative because it's just all there on screen. It's a lot quicker. You got something idea in your head, you can actually get it out pretty quick by doing it individually, just at home in my bedroom, not having to worry about what the other person thinks. Just being able to sit there and mess about. I'm having a great time, you know what I mean? At the same time, we're still doing things together. It's just better creatively.
What do you think has been your biggest musical influence?
Probably the early days, the beginning of the rave phenomenon, if you will, like the early house music days. Just going out and capturing this whole new thing that was happening and just sweeping the country. Especially going to places like the Hacienda, which I don't think that for me will ever be beaten as far as an atmosphere and an expectancy and just a level of enthusiasm, because to everybody it's new, you know. If you go to a club now, a lot of people who haven't been before think, yeah, that's wicked, you know what I mean? But they say, when it was back then, nobody knew, you know what I mean? Everybody was just like, wow, what the hell is this? You know what I mean? And the DJs there were really good. They just basically played good music quite across the board, mostly house and stuff. But it was just an education.
I think that's quite prevalent in your music. The output for soul art is as much rooted in the Hacienda and kind of early Detroit.
The whole Detroit thing, that was me, you know what I mean, completely. Derek May, Kevin Saunderson, Juan Atkins, them three, Carl Craig, even. I don't think their music's been better. It just blew me away, basically. That was the beauty of going to places like the Hacienda and stuff. Just the whole education thing about it, and everybody just grew up on them good tunes, you know what I mean? Nobody used to play any kind of cheesy stuff or whatever. It was just all deep.
With Solar, you've got a real definite kind of ID with the packaging and stuff. Is that a conscious decision you took to make it all really kind of presentable?
Didn't do it on purpose. Even the name didn't come about on purpose, you know what I mean? It was just like, that looks good. That will sort of stand the test of time. It will sort of say what we're about. So at the same time, we want to make a statement visually as well. A lot of drum and bass at the time was all about technology and looking spacey and you know what I mean? So, okay, fine.
I just get something more
I just wanted something natural, more organic.
Are there any other artists that you haven't brought into the camp yet that you'd like to bring in?
It's not particularly artists. I just listen to music, and if I like something, I don't care if it's bad. You know what I mean? If I want to put it out, I'll be in touch. We just sound a thing from D-Bridge. Just reminds me of Crust from about 5 years ago. It's dirty. It's just horrible, but nice. It's a little bit deeper, a little bit more of an ugly sound. It's good for us and good for the label because we're not just about one thing. We're just about good music, and it fits the bill perfectly.
When you're looking at venues in London, how many other sort of possible kind of definite venues did you see before Plastic People?
Didn't really see anywhere. We had a couple in mind. I quite like Cargo. I just wanted to do something that wasn't on the obvious drum and bass roster. And I just love Plastic People. I just love that club. And it just got to a point where it's like, if we're not going to do it there, then let's not do it. We speak a lot and we get on quite well with other Bugs crew and stuff. And we kind of all know each other and kind of respect each other musically and stuff. So I got them to have a word with a guy who runs a club, and he was cool, and it was just like people just helping us out a little bit. It's my favourite space, and it's a really good sound system.
Definitely.
And not that it's quality sound.
It just needs
you're
to be
going to
clear
walk
and it
out
needs
there
to
talking normally, not having to shout. Your ears aren't going to be grated, but you're going to know, you've heard every single frequency in the tunes.
There's
clearly.
a difference between loudness and resonance, you know what I mean? That's a lot of people don't see that.
The guy loves his sound, you know what I mean? He knows it back to front, you know what I mean? Which for me just
couldn't ask for any more of a D&B night.
For a DJ, definitely.
It's been wicked talking to you,
I've
Marcus.
had a really good time, thank you
Excellent,
very much.
man. Wicked.
We'll do it again.
This is Friction, you're watching Code of the Streets.
Yeah, this is SBMC, you're in tune to Code of the Streets, urban music culture, all of them things, watch it.
Yep, sway. Code of the Streets. You know how we do. The Cypher. Yo. It's the NSWA. Why they trying to do sway to one crew? Cruising true like a crusade. I step on stage and hold the mic like a hostage. Feel like the craze, pick up your demo like what's this?
Were you always into hip hop?
I was always into music in general. Like, actually, it wasn't even hip hop that got me into music. It was Michael Jackson. If anything, it was really just like seeing the type of people, like it was young black people in the TV with the hip hop, which drew me to that kind of music. Get me? Because I felt at home in that kind of environment, listening to hip hop and everything, and things they were saying in the songs I could relate to. Even though I was in England, like I could relate to the way they were living and certain things they were saying.
Any concussing, I'll leave them with concussion. Come busting like combustion, you don't want nothing. I'm colder than Steve Austin. You compliment me often. Your fake rappers couldn't gain blacks if you stop rushing.
I appreciate all different kinds of music. Both my parents are from Ghana, and I grew up around a lot of West African music. Nobody in the world has got the exact same combination of things I've been through in my life and things I listen to. So you'll hear a bit of high life, which is a Ghanaian music, drum and bass, soul, jazz, you name it, it's in my music because I listen to everything.
I spit tighter than family cuddles. Rock it like Nasser, I turn rappers into puddles. MCs wanna diss this, but I display the talent. They watch me rapping from a distance, then dismiss the challenge.
With the US hip hop, they tend to kind of follow a formula. Do you think that's why UK hip hop has got now its unique identity?
People were copying the Americans, but because the Americans started copying each other, they needed to find something different. And it was like when they were looking over to England and man that were doing their own thing in England who stood out, like for example Slick Rick, he went over there, he had his British accent and everything, and he blew up over there because he was different, he stood out. And they were looking for that in us and the whole UKG scene. It's not just an American thing now, it's a fashion thing. It's like the people on top in the UK now, for example, people like Wiley, people like Dizzy, So Solid, they're all kind of like street-orientated Londoners. And it's not because everyone's a street-orientated Londoner now. It's that's in fashion, that's what's selling, so everybody's doing that. It's a shame, but that's the way this world is now. That's the way television's made all of us, you get me? We just follow what we see on the TV, man. We're very controlled, man. We're in a controlled society. Every rapper in the UK, when they first start rapping, if you start rapping from young, like I was rapping from 14, I'm 21 now, I sounded like Nas, I sounded like Method Man, then I sounded like Biggie, then Pac.
Isn't that because that's where the music was coming from?
But when you want to be taken seriously and you're like, well, you've got something to offer the world yourself, that's when you have to start drawing for your own inspirations and setting yourself aside, to get me.
This me if you wonder why I don't half care. I just laugh, yeah. Cause you sound like me last year. I'm one step ahead of neck and the body, I can't stop. I make marks like barbers you can't cut.
What about your lyrics?
Well, when I was rapping in my early days, I was rapping serious because I want to be taken seriously. But I'm a pretty humorous person in general, like that's my personality. And people was like, you should combine your personality with your lyrics, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't do it for a long time though. I wanted to put up this hard man thing.
Hip-hop's in my heart, what? I grab a microphone and bust quick like young lovers who can't up. I won't swear, code of the streets. Sway the Sappho, you don't know I'm from the streets.
What do you think of tunes then where it's all like, this is my bling, this is my bitch, this is my car, and this is my house?
See these rappers like Nelly wearing your whole house on their neck and like swinging it in front of your face. It's like, it's amazing, isn't it? You're watching it like, oh, wow, I want to do that one day. I want to swing a house on my neck. If that's your aim in life, to start buying diamonds because you're watching it, that's where you've lost the plot. Some people ain't got no food in their fridge, but they'll drive a nice car just to live out that fantasy, which is pretty dumb. So you just have to find the thin line. There's a very thin line between the entertainment and reality.
Do what I wanna do and never be defeated. Even on computers I can never be deleted. Big up all the people, big up all the drum and bass heads. Up in the place, yo, and big up all the bass heads.
So how does it work with you and the actual production side of your music?
Like, I've been producing for time, so I produce my own stuff. Sometimes I could have a beat and a write to the beat. Sometimes I could have a lyric and a write to the lyric. And sometimes I could actually have a flow, which is like a flow, and then I'd put words into the flow. The words are separate from the music to me. It's like the way you're flowing is part of the beat as far as I'm concerned, you know. So if you can manage to balance all three of those, the beat, the words and the flow all together, then you can get yourself a good song. you know, and structure. Structure is very important as well because of the way we're conditioned as people. It's like you need to learn people's concentration spans and stuff. Some of these rappers, some of these nerdy rappers with the rucksacks, they don't do this, and then they rap these long verses at these shows, and then they think that the whole industry's like hating on them, but they don't realize that their verse is too long. And these kids, we were all raised on Teletubbies and stuff like that, and we can't concentrate for that long. That's why you hear these radio tracks by Britney Spears where a verse is like 2 seconds long, and then it's the chorus, and it's 2 seconds long again, and then it's the chorus. It goes into your head. People have been conditioned, and that's
so
why these
psychology,
people.
basically,
it's definitely a psychology behind music. It's music is a very dangerous thing, you know. It could help people, at the same time it can destruct people a lot. And that's why the government are pumping money into these majors, because they're bringing out the Britney Spears and stuff that keep people dumb.
I don't give a damn, even big up the government, big up Tony Blair, even he knows who I am. Big up the cameraman, and big up my girl, big up my girl, and big up my man.
And how important is language in what you do?
It's all about relating to people. Words are very important. I try not to swear. If it's offending people, then that's where it's a problem.
And were you good at English at school?
Education did support me, because I wouldn't know what onomatopoeia is and alliteration and the kind of effect they have on people has helped me as an artist.
Big up my leg and big up my hand. Big up everywhere, big up all over the land. I'm from the UK, I'm the new sway. I do what I gotta do today.
I do want to get signed to a big record company, any label with the clout and the templates to put me in the right places. Right now, I'm doing everything on my own. I've intended to do everything on my own for now. I'm putting out my own LP at the end of this year called This Is My Demo, just so that I could give these people who have got the money to put me in a better position an example of what I do. I don't want to go to them with my talent and they'll be like, alright, you're capable of doing this. We want you to rap about this, this and that, because we've got the money and we've got the clout and you haven't done nothing for yourself and you haven't got no fan base. I'd rather go to them with a fan base and be like, look, there's this amount of people who have bought my stuff in the past. Well, if that's the case, there's more people just like them out there. All you need to do is put me on a higher pedestal so then people can see me as well, and then I make my sales, I can live well, and at the same time people will be getting the message I'm putting through my music. I enjoy music, I enjoy performing, I enjoy the hype, I enjoy crowds, I enjoy people enjoying themselves. I enjoy all of that.
There's too much pressure to be the best. I see the press put people up on pedestals just to see them fall from the top story. News, drop gory, move, what a bloody shame. Don't get it twisted. Fame ain't immunity to pain. I'm turning around and seeing death grab it.
The code of the streets. Woo.
Yeah, this is X-Man, you're watching Codes of the Streets. Kapow!